Rashomon is a 1950s Japanese film that was written and directed by Akira Kurosawa. So, Rashomon is actually a Criterion patron pick from Tyree. I still have quite a mountain of Criterion patron picks from this guy. I really appreciate his support, and I'm really excited to get through all of his picks. At this point, I've seen 5 or 6 Kurosawa films, and I've loved every last one of them. Kurosawa is a legendary filmmaker, and I think that's rightfully so. I mean, I just feel like his filmmaking style, his writing ability, and his overall aesthetic techniques were just way ahead of its time. His films are absolutely timeless, and Rashomon is no exception. The only thing I really knew going into this film was that it was a huge inspiration for Ridley Scott's The Last Duel, which is a film that I actually surprisingly enjoyed. And now after watching it, I can confirm without a doubt that it is in fact a huge inspiration for The Last Duel. Because this film conceptually, and I'm not sure if any other films have necessarily approached this type of concept in this way before it, but what it does is that it takes a central story to the film, and it basically explores different perspectives from different characters that are involved in this event. And the differences between all the perspectives that are presented in the film are vitally different from each other. And it's basically up to the audience to kind of figure out which one is the most reliable, which one is the most unreliable, which pieces of each story have truth in it, which ones are completely false. And it's just a very interesting and entertaining and thought-provoking expression of the human condition in regards to how we just have this innate tendency to bend the truth and to lie in certain ways that, makes the retelling of the story a bit more favorable towards our side. And also beneath all of that, this film also explores kind of culturally the differences between how both men and women are perceived. Not only back then, but in ways that are still relevant today. For example, like in this film, it kind of shows you how if men can go around and sleep with all the women they want and no one really bats an eye. But the second that it's even hinted that a woman has slept with more than one man, they basically get treated like trash, and there's just a totally different connotation to it. But there are some notable differences between Rashomon and The Last Duel in terms of the way that they approach this very similar concept. One of them being the fact that I think Rashomon actually offers up the honest, truthful perspective in a sense. Does what I believe to consider something that is, at the very least, a lot more believable and truthful, compared to the rest of the perspectives that we heard throughout the film. And another difference is that here in Rashomon, there's a perspective given in this film that is like 100% unreliable no matter which way you look at it, because it's basically a perspective that is presented through a medium, like a psychic medium character. And I really didn't know how to feel about this element of the film at first, because narratively speaking, it just felt kind of like a waste of time. But thematically speaking, I 100% understand why it's there. Because as I mentioned, the reliability of all these perspectives are very much out the window as the film progresses, and we kind of get to see these vital changes between perspectives. And I think the medium character kind of just is there to expose this notion once and for all. Like, it's there to kind of show you that the perspective from this medium is no more reliable than any of the perspectives from these actual living human beings. And again, it's mostly just because it's all clouded in motive. It's clouded in pride, and it's just, again, clouded in everything that is wrong with us humans in a way. So yeah, I still don't think I'm 100% in love with it as a narrative choice, but overall I do think that it definitely does work for what the film's going for, and overall makes it more interesting and thematically compelling. And also when it comes to the performances in this film, to me the two standouts are, first of all, the obvious one, Toshiro Mifune. He kills it every single time I see him in an Akira Kurosawa film. He has to, again, as pretty much every character that I've seen him in, he really has to embody, a very strong personality. His character has this reoccurring comedic, maniacal laugh that we see throughout the entire film. And he really has to sell it each time, and it's something that, given into the hands of a different actor or directed by somebody else, could just come off cheesy and not work at all. But clearly here, everybody involved knows exactly what they're doing, and it adds so much personality to the character. But also the other performance that I thought was fantastic was from the female character, Machiko Kyo. she really kills it in this film. I mean, she arguably has the best performance in this movie because she really has to sell all of her emotions. In my opinion, she definitely has the most emotionally exhausting role in this film, and I don't want to give away key reasons why, but she definitely had to take her character into places that I don't think other actors were required to do for their own characters. And I haven't really talked about the aesthetics of this film yet. I guess sometimes when it comes to Akira Kurosawa, it just goes without saying because, as I mentioned in the beginning of this review, all of his films that I've seen are incredibly timeless, and the aesthetic craft is a huge reason why. This film looks beautiful from start to finish. And obviously a huge reason why are the delicate choices that were made behind the camera in terms of how each scene is going to be framed, how it's going to capture the landscape, how, these situations and how it's framed are going to truly capture the emotional essence of the scene. It's just really obvious that there was a lot of care that went into each frame of this film. Also, there's some moments in this film where the musical score is so memorable and definitely elevates certain key moments of this film, and I gotta give a lot of props there as well. And really the only other little criticism that I do have of the film that has nothing to do with the whole medium type character is the same reoccurring criticism that I tend to have with Kurosawa films. And it's the fact that there are a handful of moments in this film where they kind of say the quiet part out loud, because the way that the film presents its themes and its story information and its character information, it's very easy for the audience to extrapolate what it all means. And there are just few moments in this film where certain characters kind of give all that away through dialogue, but it's pretty sparing with it. It doesn't really happen often at all. And obviously overall, I still think that this is a fantastic, timeless piece of filmmaking and explores such an interesting and human concept that I don't really think was explored any time before this, at least not in the same way that it is here, in such an effective and nuanced and also incredibly entertaining way. So I'm going to give Rashomon a soft 9 out of 10. Another huge shout out to Tyree for requesting this film during the Criterion hauls. I'm really glad I own the Criterion now because I really love the film. I also can't wait to watch and review Metropolis this week because it won the YouTube subscriber poll. That's all I gotta say about Rashomon. If you really enjoyed what I had to say about the films, give it a thumbs up and share it amongst your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to be updated on more film-related content.